Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. We're going to go ahead and get started here. So first of all, I want to talk about the current heat indices. So across the area, we're seeing heat indices already in the upper 80s to lower 90s. Luckily, I'll show you a little overview. Here's a picture that we have of the warm front and where it was located just only an hour or two ago. So dew points of higher dew points are still trying to filter in across the area. Sure, as you saw, the areas to our south do have a heat advisory in effect, but we are not thinking that we will reach heat advisory criteria today. So we're thinking max is going to be about 100 to 102 in southeastern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina for our area. Go ahead and get started with our briefing. So today we're going to focus on the severe threat for this afternoon into this evening. The only notable change was that the Storm Prediction Center expanded the 30% contour of the damaging wind probability for to cover most of the area. So it was only covering some of the area as of yesterday, but we'll kind of show you. All right, as I mentioned, there's a slight risk, level 2 out of 5 for severe thunderstorms across the area this afternoon into this evening. The main threat today, as with Friday, is going to be the damaging wind gusts. So right now we're thinking between 60 to 70 mile per hour. So that's what we're preparing for with any severe thunderstorms or the stronger storms that do develop this evening. However, large hail, localized heavy rain, and an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out, but the environment is definitely more favorable today for the damaging wind gust. So with that being said, scattered tree damage and power outages are possible due to this wind threat, especially obviously if the storms move over certain areas. Luckily, this is all associated being driven by a cold front, so cooler, drier pattern does take hold earlier or later this week. As far as marine weather goes, we did end up putting out small craft advisories for the bay for this afternoon for a wind surge from the south with winds gusting to 20 to 25 knots. And then behind the front, we're Monday in the morning, we are expecting another surge of winds from the north to northwest. I'll just briefly go over the weather pattern for today. As I mentioned, we've got this cold front that is moving towards our area. Through Monday, it'll bring in that cooler, drier air, at least Monday and Tuesday. So then we're looking at the potential for it to come a little bit farther back north on Wednesday. And then there is, and I will mention this a little bit later, some potential for some more severe storms on Thursday associated with this front up in the upper part. But regardless, let's focus on today. As far as what to expect, scattered to numerous showers and storms are expected during the evening and afternoon. As I mentioned, the primary threat is going to be those 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts associated with these storms. As far as storm motion goes, these storms will be moving pretty quickly. We're estimating probably 30 to 45 or 30, around 30, 35 to 45 miles per hour eastward. And with that being said, while locally heavy rainfall is expected, localized flooding is less of an issue today, one, because of the ongoing drought, and two, because of this really fast storm motion. And as far as storm coverage, there's moderate confidence in storm coverage and in storm intensity. Here's one closer look at the threats today. As I mentioned, this 30% wind contour now covers most of the area, so we are expecting those 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts across most of the area today. And as far as hail, small hail is definitely possible. Within the stronger storms, you might see some localized 1 inch or severe hail possible. And for tornadoes, the environment isn't too favorable for them, but it cannot be ruled out today. All right, so I'm going to go over some of our timing estimates. So here is one look at what we were thinking. So a lot of the guidance and the high resolution models are showing some storms popping up earlier. So this is why we kind of have a wider range of timing. So basically the 2 to 11 time frame is to account for any convection that could develop ahead of the front. And then, of course, later today, the front will be moving through this evening. into early tonight. So I'm going to go in and just kind of show you what we're seeing as we don't, as far as timing goes, we don't have too much confidence. It's probably low to moderate at best. So I'm going to show you a few different examples of what I'm saying, just because there is lower confidence. So this is one high res model, HRRR. So this one does start having some of the convection that I mentioned moving into South Central and Virginia and Northeastern North Carolina. And this is about 5 p.m. Timestamp. So we've got that moving through, and then the actual line moves through later. Now we're going to look at another model. Give me 1 second while I load this. And then we're going to look at, pretty sure it's this one. All right, so now we're looking at the, right here. All right, we're going to go minus 6 hours. That one looks like it's loading. So, all right, so now, I guess we're not going to, don't really want to show it. All right. Well, this one doesn't seem to want to load for me today, but basically what it was kind of showing, the one that I was talking about did not have that initial convection ahead of the storm. So that's why there's a lot of uncertainty regarding the timing. We do have some cumulus already building, so we're definitely going to keep an eye on that. So we'll see if this scenario with the stuff ahead of it does play out. Alrighty, so as far as rain totals and timing, I mentioned that these storms are going to be moving pretty quickly. So as far as widespread heavy rainfall amounts, or rainfall total accumulation, really not expecting too much in the way of that. However, locally heavy rainfall is possible. Some of the stronger storms possibly could produce over 1 inch of rainfall, but with the scattered nature of the convection that it's expected, the exact locations of this heavier rainfall is uncertain at this time. All right, one last thing I did want to mention, even though it's not talking about today, is that we have been outlooked for Thursday, at least down to Richmond as of right now. So another cold front is going to approach the area on Thursday into Thursday night, and that could bring another round of strong to severe thunderstorms. So just wanted to briefly touch on that, even though it's not really related to today, but I'm going to put that out there. All right, and as far as, I kind of just went over this briefly, but widespread rainfall, really not expecting too much through the next week. It was looking a little bit more unsettled for Monday and Tuesday, but that's kind of trended a little bit drier. So not much relief from our drought, unfortunately. All right, switching gears a little bit just to talk about the heat. Luckily, today is going to be the only issue in terms of heat due to the cold front coming through tonight and bringing cooler temperatures to the area. So as far as high temperatures are concerned, we're looking at the 90s for basically all of our area. And with those dew points being brought up by that warm front that I showed earlier, that's kind of draped across our area. Areas south of Richmond likely will see dew points at 100 or potentially even a little bit higher. So 101, 102. So definitely a toasty day down in central or south central and southeastern and Virginia and northeastern North Carolina. As I mentioned, you can see on Monday and Tuesday, really not looking for any type of heat headlines, just because it's going to be actually pretty decent and close to normal for this time of year. And for the excessive heat threat, basically lines up with where we're expecting those 102, 102, 103 heat indices. So, and the heat does return on Thursday, but we'll probably talk more about that in any type of briefing on the upcoming week. Basically, we're expecting, I kind of have gone over this, but temperatures to reach the peak, basically peak today, and then trend back down closer to normal tomorrow, and slowly start to moderate through at least Thursday. So pretty nice first half of the week. As far as rain chances go, the highest will definitely be today and tonight, with more rain chances expected later this week. All right, and that is all I have for you today. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. And thank you for your attendance.